So Scott will be here in just a couple of minutes.
So he's the chair.
He is the chairman of the
Does
Board
he
of
have
Finance.
4 legs?
Oh, boy. Oh, God. Welcome to the show we are going to rename that Nobody Gets the Jokes Except Paul.
Well,
Nobody understands Paul's jokes except Paul.
I mean, is he a recliner?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God. How do you get through with this stuff? That's what I want to know. Oh, my God. Yeah, so Scott will be here from the Board of Finance talking about, we're going to talk about they're having a special meeting.
Yeah.
The agenda was posted, I think, Friday.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about the cost overruns
At the senior center.
at the senior center that's happening. So, what they are, what it's going to entail. And Scott will hopefully be able to shed some light on all of that for us. So there you go. It should be very interesting. At least I'm hoping it is.
Yeah. Can we ask him a few other questions? Or is
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Scott's always been very open.
I know
with us,
he has been very open.
He's been very, very open as far as any questions that need to be would be answered or anything like that. So
Sure.
he'll be calling in just a couple of minutes, and so hopefully, we try to give great information, and here we go. Good morning. Who's on the phone with us?
Hey, this is Scott. How are you, Mike? How are you, Paul?
Good.
Hey, Scott. How are you? How you been? How's your back this morning?
Not too bad. Did a little bit of clearing last night, so this morning we're in good shape.
It's funny that you even know what I meant.
Hey, what else could you be alluding to?
I don't know. My back hurts. I literally got up this morning and I sat on the side of the bed for a minute, and my head, my neck just kind of went.
Yeah.
Shot right down my body. So.
Yeah, I guess we might be getting some more tomorrow, from what I hear.
Yep. 3 to 5, they're saying.
You just shut your dirty mouth, all right?
Yeah.
All right. So, Scott, you are the Board of Finance chair. Now we haven't had you back on since you become the chairman again.
Yeah, that's correct.
So now you're in your new reign of terror. What's happening with the Board of Finance?
On the future, we're going to be dealing with budgets again. Obviously, that is slated to kick off fairly soon. I suspect that probably at our next regular meeting, which I think is let me pull a calendar up here. I suspect that at our next regular meeting, we'll probably set the budget calendar, and that's Tuesday the 16th for our regular meeting. And that's just kind of meeting dates. We do workshops and we hear presentations and whatnot. I'm not really certain as of yet how that's going to go. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going to assume that we're going to be able to craft and formulate a budget this year and go back to our traditional ways, where it was able to go to referendum and be voted on by the citizens of, by the community. But I haven't heard anything to indicate which way it's going to go either way.
You know what? If we can vote for a presidential election, we can vote on a budget in our town.
Hey, I'm going to go one step further. If I can continue to go to Walmart and go grocery shopping, we can figure out how to vote.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, 100% on that one.
That's good.
So yeah, that's going to be kicking off shortly. I think, if I remember correctly, this coming Wednesday, the 10th, I think the governor is supposed to provide his proposed budget. So that will start to at least give us some idea on where our revenue numbers are. Hopefully, from what monies we're going to be getting from the state. On what we can kind of count on based on town funding, on ECS funding for the schools. I'm gonna make an assumption. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that probably it's not going to deviate too much from probably what the governor says, considering that The Democrats really pretty much control everything. So, I would like to try to be positive and speculate that we'll have some decent numbers to be able to formulate a good game plan on how we're going to get things funded. That's in the forefront immediately. What we're dealing with now is we're dealing with the senior center project tomorrow evening, and I'm hoping that the weather's going to cooperate. I'm not really sure what our backup game plan is going to be, but tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. We're going to be meeting to discuss the bonded senior center project. From what I understand, what I have been told, there are some cost overruns. They're rather significant. About 2 weeks ago, now I learned that there were estimated cost overruns in that project and it has a pretty big swag number. It was like 450,000 to about 1.2 million.
Over?
Over.
And what it will cost to complete. Correct.
Wow.
Obviously, I wanted to set up a special meeting so that we could deal with this topic and this topic alone. From what I was told, those overruns will prohibit the project from actually being completed. As it has been investigated a little bit further, the new swag number is it's going to be somewhere between $300,000 and $900,000 over budget, and there are a number of elements, a number of things that are project related that are either going to be deferred or not done until they can come up with that additional funding, or we can come up with that additional funding. I don't, unfortunately, right now have a list of what those are. That's still kind of being worked on. We tasked the finance director with a pretty big list of documentation that we had wanted coming into the meeting. While we've received a lot of that, there are obviously a few things that are still kind of lagging, because it just takes some time to be able to get that. He's got to coordinate with some other people on that as well.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, a lot of these cost overruns, or all of them, maybe, I don't know. I mean, we blame everything on COVID. I mean, is this something that's COVID related? Because I know that a lot of the materials at one point were one price, and after COVID hit, they were another price.
Well, that's one of the things that I guess we've got to take a look at. I mean, could COVID be partially responsible for some of the cost overruns? It's probably safe to say that, yeah, a certain portion of that, the duration of the contract perhaps went longer than it should have gone. So maybe you're paying for, construction management fees for a number of months longer than what was originally thought out. But one of the things we're also looking at, because we have copies of all the contracts, that most contracts have a guaranteed maximum price.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the risk you take when you bid some of these projects. Materials go up, materials go down. If they go down, the contractor, the builder, they make out. If they go up, then sometimes they've got to absorb that. So that's one of the things that we're also diving into is reading the volumes of paperwork that we've been provided to make sure we have a full understanding and fully grasp what's going on. We have so it's going to be a live meeting, an in-person meeting, and it's going to be held at 7 p.m. at the Griswold Middle School. But because of the nature of the meeting, we have, I don't know, I'm going to say roughly 15 to 20 people that have been that are going to be in attendance. Makeup of the Board of Finance, the Finance Director, the Board of Selectmen, the Senior Building Committee. We've the GC, the PM of the project. So all told, you've got about between 15 and 20 people that are going to be there, because we want to have our questions answered. We need them answered. We need to know exactly what's going on, why it went down, and my personal opinion is that while Zoom meetings are great, it's that in-person meeting where I need to be able to look somebody in the eyes. And we need to make sure we have all of the pertinent answers and paperwork and evidence, to be able to follow up on accordingly. And you can't get that in a Zoom meeting. Now, there is going to be a Zoom component. I know that the agenda has been posted on the town's website. It does give you the Zoom link. We are asking that anybody that may want to attend this meeting, that they do so via Zoom, because due to COVID guidelines, social distancing, although it is being held at the middle school, we're limited to only 25 people that are able to attend. 25 is the maximum number. From what I've been told, those guidelines have come from Uncas Health, and they're pretty firm. So my fear is obviously that this is going to be this is a pretty important topic for the town, and there are going to be a lot of people that are going to also want to know the answers to these questions, and they're going to want to be able to hear it. My fear is that we aren't able to hold that meeting because we have 50 people that show up and they want to attend live. So we did make that Zoom component available, that virtual component. You'll be able to listen in, you'll be able to watch, you'll be able to get live updated information. And my hope is that everybody does that so we are able to hold that meeting, because really our buffer is only about 5 to 7 people extra that we're able to allow in that meeting room before we have achieved capacity.
We have a question that was put in our chat room, if I could ask it of you.
Yeah.
Sarah wants to know, how much was the cost that the town committed to at the start, so I can get a percentage estimate for the cost overrun in the project that the town is responsible for?
Oh boy. You would have thought that I would have had that data for you coming into the meeting. And I'll be completely honest with you, I dropped the ball. I want to say that bonded project was in the tune of about $7 million.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
right.
Let me, as I'm sitting here talking, Google is my friend. I'm gonna do a quick Google and see if I can come up with that. I meant to get that in preparation for today, and a few things came up over the weekend, and I never got to it. Let me see if I can come up with that. Let's see, 2019. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, it looks like the bond was about $7.6 million.
Yeah.
According to what I'm looking up. This is from, like I said, I got it from Google because I didn't pull that number. It's an article that was in the Current. It was a $7.6 million bond for the senior center.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So now, what does this mean to the resident, Scott? I mean, let's say it's $900,000 cost overrun.
So, and I don't have all of the information yet. There are so many moving pieces and parts, and I don't want anybody to think that we haven't been trying to get the information, but we're trying to coordinate with 3 or 4 different people and agencies, and obviously we just learned of it, and my first question is, holy smokes, if we're looking at $300,000 to $900,000, how is it that only 2 weeks ago on a project that's been in the works for 2 years, we're only learning about it now? That's the first thing that comes to mind. What it means for us as taxpayers, I can't give you a complete answer. I can only tell you what I know. Number one, it sounds to me like what hasn't been done, what's going to be deferred, could possibly prevent the opening of the senior center until that additional funding is in place. Based on a lot of those deferments. So that might put us certainly behind the 8 ball and saying, okay, well, if you don't fund it, do you have a building that cannot be occupied or can't be used? I don't know the answer to that question because, like I said, I haven't seen the list yet of the deferments. but 300 to $900,000.
It's a
You
big
know,
spectrum.
you're
That's a
gonna
wide
get the-
spectrum there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need to get. Obviously, we've got to initiate the funding process, the allocation process. That's just kind of how it works. But based on that dollar value, there's going to have to be, I would imagine, some sort of a town referendum in order to be able to authorize those funds. In pure speculation on my part, because we're gonna obviously depend on some of the advice from the finance director at our meeting. But pure speculation on my part. Could that money be appropriate out of surplus? Yes, we do have a surplus that could handle that. That hasn't long been favorable on our part because you try to use it for other things when we're in a budget crisis or whatnot. Certainly, could we look at perhaps bonding that additional amount? I think that's probably another option. I do know that Eric Christensen, the finance director, has been doing quite a bit of research for us to be able to give us those answers. But I would fully expect that there is going to be a requirement, a public requirement to that, and quite frankly, I'd be very, very surprised if there wasn't.
So let's say it does go to referendum, and the residents vote no. Or what happens? I mean, do we now have like a partially built building on the top of Taylor Hill that just sits there?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, Mike. I really hope that it does. I really hope that it does go to referendum, and not necessarily because of the uncertainty, but we saw what happened last year. That we got a budget that came through. Everything kind of got passed through, and the public never had the opportunity to speak. And I think that as part of our process, I think that's an important component. But you're right. That's a very, very significant question there. What happens if it gets voted no? I don't know.
Yeah, the one thing that a lot of people can't accept right now would be a tax increase. I mean, a lot of people are not working. They can't even afford to live, for crying out loud.
Right. Agreed.
So,
We did receive some information. Our grand list is up. I know that's going to be another topic that's going to be discussed on the 16th at our regular meeting as well. But you're right, Paul. How much more can we continue to put on the
I know.
shoulders of everybody?
it's not the time right now, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Or do people feel like they have handcuffs on, and they feel like they have to vote yes because there's no other choice? I mean, I think myself, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, well, my back's up against the wall.
Sure.
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 There's nothing you can do.
You're right. As and I've tried to look at this as many ways as possible. And of course, the biggest answer we need to get is how did it happen and why did it happen? I think that's really going to I think answer a lot of other questions. And then of course, follow up to that is what exactly is that number and what are those items? What are the emergency items that have to be done to be able to say get a CO on the building and to be able to use it versus what are the items that can perhaps be deferred and not affect its usage? Because you're right, if it were a position, and it's pure speculation on my part, where that wasn't able to open, we've spent a considerable amount of money, over $7 million on a facility that we couldn't use.
Right.
So I hope that's not the case.
But it could be.
It could be, because I don't have that info as of yet.
Yeah, I would think that if it goes to referendum, I think the seniors would come out in full force,
Mm-hmm.
like they did last time when they wanted to get the referendum passed to approve the project.
Right.
So my guess is that it would probably get approved.
My guess is it probably would get approved anyway, because I think people will be thinking like, well, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. And I don't
What
think,
choices do we really have on this?
I don't think it has anything to do with bells and whistles either, because I thought they kept that thing pretty neutral without putting a lot of bells and whistles in that place. So it's not a
Right,
lot of extras.
right.
It's not a lot of extras,
Right.
you know.
And Paul is a senior that does not go to the senior center.
That's correct.
Huh.
So
Don't belong.
what?
I don't belong.
You don't belong. Why don't you think you belong? I'm
Well,
excited. This year I can actually join.
well, when I become a senior, then I'll go.
Oh, all right. Whatever.
Okay.
So we're in a little bit of a conundrum. Are we not, Scott?
We are.
Yeah. I'm just shocked
We
at the
are.
amount of money.
You know, and I hesitate. I mean, I want to say this and say I certainly don't want to. I certainly don't want to sound like Chicken Little and claim that the sky is falling, because there are so many things that we don't know yet. We don't have the answers to, that we won't have the answers to until our meeting tomorrow evening. But certainly, as we talk about it on its face, it is very alarming.
So what questions need to be asked? What are the hard questions that need to be asked tomorrow night?
You know, well, I mean, you have some of the obvious. You know, I think somebody's going to need to bring us through the project, really through inception. I think they're going to need to explain what have been the issues. I mean, we have a number of change orders that were issued for various things, and you know, like I said, the paperwork we received so far that we've all got to look at has been, you know, I'm going to say a volume of paperwork, you know, contracts and whatnot. But you know, what has the construction manager seen? What have been the issues there? I mean, there's we've got a construction manager, a commissioning agent that you know, you would expect is, you know, working on our behalf, you know, in the oversight of this project. What has come up on that end? What items perhaps weren't planned for that should have been planned for? You know, what are your open items? I mean, I think that, you know, as the conversation continues to progress, we've got, you know, 7 people on the board. They're beginning to start to craft some of those, but I think that based on some responses, that's going to generate number of other questions as well.
You know, it almost sounds like the same problem they had at Hartford when building that baseball field. Remember when in Hartford they had the whole budget overruns and they couldn't complete the darn thing? You know,
Right,
it was
right.
it was on the project management that that fell down. So you
Right.
kind of wonder.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be the case. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Wow.
At least we don't call ourselves the yard goats.
No. Old goats. Yeah.
Did you watch the Super Bowl last night, Scott?
I did.
Are you, speaking of goats, are you happy that Tom Brady got his 7th?
You know, I'm more or less kind of indifferent. I went into watching last evening saying, at that point, it really didn't matter to me who won. I didn't have a horse in the race, so to speak. I just wanted to see a good game, and I was really surprised, taken aback on how lopsided that was. And to his credit, he really has proven that he is truly the GOAT.
Mm.
You know, I think that question's been answered.
You know, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, not 1 minute of it.
Really?
No,
Wow.
I watched WandaVision. Have you seen that? I don't know if you're a Marvel guy or not. But
I have seen it. I don't know if they've come out with a new episode since I watched it beginning of the week. I thought the first episode was kind of slow.
Weird.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure. I had to take a break from it after watching the first episode. I took a break for a couple of weeks and then went back to it. But it did get better as you continue to watch it.
Yeah, they dropped another. There's 5 now.
Oh, okay. I'm only up to 4.
Yeah. So and it gets weirder and weirder and weirder as it goes. But the love story between Wanda and Vision is probably better than the love story of the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. So
Yes.
yeah, I agree with you. The first one was like kind of wacky. It's like, what the hell is
Yeah.
Melissa and I looked at each other and said, what did we just watch?
Yeah.
We had no idea. And then the second one was like, oh, okay. But it hooked us enough to watch. And then the third, we were done. We were in.
Yeah. Yeah. I made it through the first one. It was difficult to make it through the first one.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to try to binge watch it. I made it through about 5 minutes of the second one, and then said, "Yeah, I can't take it anymore. I got to walk away."
That's weird because that's exactly what happened to us pretty much. I almost fell asleep, and then it kept going. All right. So, but I understand that you have to watch Iron Man or the Iron Man series to really understand what's going on with Wanda and Vision.
Okay.
So of course, Melissa, who likes Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block, and watching Friends 24/7, has now said we have to watch all of these Marvel movies, which is strange.
Yeah.
Which is very strange. So anyway, all right. So a little bit of a detour there on our conversation.
Sure.
So it's tomorrow night is the special meeting. I think it's important once again for people that are just joining us now to talk about how to join the meeting and why they should join the way you've been suggesting.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, once again, the live component was really put in and requested by me, truly based on the seriousness, I'll have to say, the gravity of the situation and what we're going to need to deal with. But unfortunately, that does come with some strings attached, and based on COVID and COVID guidelines and public assembly and social distancing and whatnot, the limitation is that we are limited to 25 people total within that venue. And if you incorporate all of those that I have requested to attend, and including the Board of Finance, that puts us at, I don't know, 15, 18 people total. There could even be one or two additional more, depending on, if one of those invited parties brings somebody else that's part of their, part of a firm with them or whatnot, it could jump a little more. So that doesn't leave us really any additional wiggle room of more than a couple of people. My fear is that if all of a sudden you have, we'll just say, 10 or 15 additional people that show up to attend the meeting, it's a public meeting. How do you turn them away? And I don't want to be in a position where we're not going to be able to have that public meeting because we can no longer allow the public into that meeting. So there is a Zoom component. That's the virtual meeting attendance. You'll be able to watch the meeting in real time as it unfolds. You'll be able to hear all of the discussion, and there is a link. There is, I think, a login and a password or whatnot on the agenda. The agenda is posted on the town's website.
We have it on our website too, snsnonline.com. So it's there, and we've also shared it to Facebook. And
perfect. So yeah, so I am requesting that in consideration of that, if you do want to attend the meeting, please do so virtually rather than trying to attend it in person. So that way we can make sure everything kind of goes through without a hitch.
So let's say this all eventually goes to a referendum, and let's say it's a cost overrun of $900,000. I guess that's the worst case scenario. Am I right or wrong?
Be the worst case. Yeah, because he said 3 to 9.
So what?
Those were the latest numbers that I received about a week and a half ago.
So what does that do to the mill rate?
So I guess it really depends on how we decide to close that gap. So perhaps once again, speculation, perhaps one option might be to do an additional bond for that amount. That becomes, long term, that gets added on to long term debt. $900,000. We'll say if we're going to use that as the worst case scenario, that would be $900,000 of long term debt that get attached to those existing bonds that I think they were a 30-year bond, if I remember correctly.
I believe you are correct.
That would be, that would be one alternative if that's a possibility. So you're making your interest and your monthly payments on that. Another scenario perhaps could be to take that money out of the general fund. We do have a surplus. So what does that do? That lowers our surplus. That lowers the percentage of surplus we have on hand. So there are some considerations as far as how bonding companies look at that. It can affect your rates. There are some considerations also on how, when we get audited, how the auditors look at that, because there are some best practices on what you should have for surplus percentages. But you could take it out of surplus. What that would do is, that would obviously lower that component. And there would not necessarily be a tax increase if you took it out of surplus.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I don't know what the surplus is off the top of my head. I didn't bring that paperwork with me. I mean, we have a healthy surplus, but if we were to take out almost $1 million, obviously that's going to put
Won't be
a
so
big
healthy.
dent in it. Yes, yeah. It's probably no longer healthy.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I guess the third option that I can think of off the top of my head would be to say, okay, we're going to fund that as a line item in the budget, and I don't really see that as an option. But if you funded that as a line item in the budget, and it was $900,000, that would equal $720,000 is roughly equivalent to $1 million. So what are you looking at? Maybe that would be maybe $1.25 million roughly.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we did that referendum. We did the referendum for 3 projects, if I remember.
Yes.
And of course, the senior center was one of them. At that time, we did do a tax increase to include those other 2 projects. The other 2 projects never happened. I'm talking about, the sewer extension on 164 and then the one up on 201. Those things never happened. So aren't we correct?
Yes and yes and no. You're right. We haven't broke ground on it yet. So there were 3 bonds. I think that the total bond package that was approved, I think, was something like little over $15 million, I believe it was.
Right.
7.6 million was made up of the senior center. A little over, I think, 1.5 million was for the gas line project for the school campus, and then the water and the sewer extensions on, I think it was 201 and 165.
Yes.
That was about $6 million, or a little over $6 million. And they haven't broken ground on that. And the reason why they haven't broken ground is, and I guess it's just a very long, convoluted process, but they have been working with the USDA. They've been working with Congressman Courtney's office on some of this. And there is a possibility that a lot of that project could actually be funded through either some USDA grants or some low interest loans. And while that may sound kind of funky, the cost, the interest rate on the low interest loan could actually be significantly less than the interest rate we would pay if we were to bond that. So that is one of those things that they're looking to kind of get finalized to try to move that forward.
Well, my question was that at that time, we did increase the mill rate in order to cover any of those bonds, and nothing ever happens, right? So is that money going into the fund?
So So what happens is this: when they approve the bonds, those bonds don't get issued. There isn't a $15 million bond out there right now. What happens is the these projects, they kick off. They pay the bills initially with some money out of surplus, if I believe, and then what they do is they sell bond anticipation notes to pay back that money that they've spent. And they issue a number of these bond anticipation notes as they've needed to draw on that money. So what that does is, maybe in year one, instead of it, out of $15 million, maybe in year one, they only needed, $7 million. So
Right.
they've got $7 million worth of bond anticipation notes. Maybe year number two, there's another 3 million or whatever. And obviously my math doesn't add up because we haven't started that $6 million project, but you know what I mean? So you're
Yeah.
not paying the full interest, payment on that, because you're only taking what you need at the time. Right. So we've had to, I think you're right. We've had to account for, I want to say it was maybe about $200,000 worth of maybe some payments and some interest in the previous year's budget, to pay for those bands that we had taken up to this point. From my understanding, the plan was to convert all of those bands, the bond anticipation notes, into an actual bond, a permanent bond. I believe it was going to be either this June or July, at which case then, yeah, you're right. As we come into this next budget cycle, that's where we're going to see the biggest increase in our long-term debt at that point, because we're going to be paying for that full nut.
Got anything else, Paul?
No, I can't think of anything at the moment.
This is probably one of the, I don't know, since I've been paying attention for the last 5-6 years. This is probably the most difficult one that I think about. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, the other
Right.
thing we do is, we've always heard that there's some things possibly coming down the pike that the grand list is going to increase. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but now you're dealing with woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know,
I
what
know,
mean?
but still, I mean, we've got COVID kind of screwed that all up, but there's things possibly in the pipeline that could happen. And
I know, Paul, but that's like saying, I want to go ahead and buy that new
But-
TV. You know
no,
what?
no.
Oh, we can't afford it right now. Well, what do you mean? We're going to have this check come in about 3 months. We'll be
Right.
able to pay
a
for
lot
it
of people, a
then.
lot of people do.
But,
But all I'm just saying is that maybe it should come out of the rainy day fund, and then, and possibly the rainy day fund will get built back up again. And that's the grand list. I mean, the grand list increased this year so far. So,
Right.
so
so I think the rainy day fund is really there pretty much for this, a rainy day. Am I right or wrong, Scott? Really, in
Well,
your
no,
beliefs?
I mean, hey, that is certainly a very compelling argument, Mike. I don't disagree with you. I mean, what you run into is, depending on who you talk to, everybody's got maybe a little bit different of opinion on what they believe that it should
Sure.
be used for. At the end of the day, kind of my feeling is, we need to do whatever possible to make sure that we always maintain that percentage that was required, or maybe required is the wrong word, that were recommended to have within that fund. And I want to say that I think now it's like 12 to 15%. I think of the budget they recommend that you have in that fund, and that's what the auditors look at. That's what the bonding agents look at when they're determining rates and whatnot. But I think you're right. I think that if you can maintain that percentage in there, the one thing that I don't think it's wise to do is I don't think it's necessarily wise to take money out of the surplus to balance a budget or to lower a mill rate, because that creates a snowball effect.
But didn't we do
if
that?
you-
Didn't we do that about 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
We did do that. We did do that a couple of years ago. And we all recognized what the consequences were going to be the following year, because it doesn't go away. If you've got to borrow money, or take money from other sources in order to balance your budget, that's generally not a good thing to do.
Right.
we were fortunate enough that based on what was kind of coming down the pipeline, so to speak, that, that worked out and we were able to do that, without any harm. But I am certainly not in favor of moving forward with something like that. I think that, it's kind of bad policy on my, in my opinion. But if you were to use surplus money for a one-time, a capital expense or whatnot, then there you don't have that real snowball effect.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's happened too is the revaluation went through. So a lot of people's taxes, values, the houses are going up. So that's going to increase the tax revenue coming in next year.
It does. It should increase. It should increase the tax revenue. I mean, what you like to see at the same time is you like to see a reduction in the mill rate at the same time
Oh,
to
sure.
be able to offset that.
True.
So it's not it's not an automatic. The mill rate. If things are working the way they should, the mill rate shouldn't be staying the same. The mill rate should be adjusted to account for a portion of that.
Well, let's hope it all works out.
I hope so. I'm knock on wood. I'm hoping the weather cooperates as well.
Yeah, me too. I'm sick of shoveling.
Yeah.
How's your back?
Oh.
All right, Scott. Anything else you want to add? I mean, we've kept you for about 45 minutes here.
Okay.
But
no, I think we pretty much covered it all. Like I said, if I have one plea or one request is please make arrangements or make arrangements. Please attend the meeting virtually rather than live. That's really my only request. And it's not that we don't want to see you there. We just want to make sure we don't get jammed up as far as attendance numbers. So I'd rather see you on the screen if that makes sense.
Well, the weather may keep some people away too. So.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that the weather. I don't know how we're going to handle that. I'm hoping that the weather doesn't create a situation where we're required to cancel. So I'll keep you posted on that.
well, I mean, would you even cancel? Because if there's a Zoom component, then and anybody that needed to be there could be there.
They could be there. I don't know. I don't know some of the logistics on that, to be honest with you, Mike. That's where I've got to phone a friend on that one.
All right. Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
That's all I'm gonna say. Thanks, Scott, for coming on. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
It was Scott Davis, the Board of Finance Chairman here in Griswold, and they're in a little bit of a conundrum.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, the simple fact is that there's a cost overrun for the senior center project.
Yeah, it's when
Regardless of what it is, it's there.
If you think about it, they couldn't get materials, right? And materials got delayed. It's probably related to project management costs rather than materials. You know what I mean? Because I think they had a fixed price, like he said. When you bid, if the materials come in higher, that's your tough luck, buddy. And plus, there was a contingency fund on top of that thing too. So they've already gone through that contingency fund.
So what if? But what if? Yeah, you just said, well, tough luck, buddy. That's on them.
It is.
Okay.
Because that's where you bid.
Right. But so let's say that all of the products and everything of that nature they needed to build has gone up 40% because of COVID-19.
Correct.
Because of the unavailability of certain products that they needed.
Yeah.
So is that the town's onus, or is that the GC's onus? Where does that go?
It's unfortunately I guess when you bid a contract like that, you bid based on everything and labor, material, and it's a fixed price bid. It's not I don't think it was a flexible cost though. I mean, their cost thing, unless there was some kind of a contingency plan they had in on their bid. I don't know.
So what you're saying, and I don't want to twist your words, but I want to just kind of get to the punch here. So according to your thought or your way of thinking, the GC, the general contractor, should just eat it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that they built in some extra money in there. I mean, when you're bidding, I mean, I'm sure that there's some extra stuff you throw in there just to get it up there a little bit. I mean, you don't bid it dollar for dollar. So, and he was actually bidding against other people. I mean, there were probably several bids that came in, and he was trying to keep his bid down low. Unfortunately, he got caught now. So
So the town says, okay, you got to eat it.
if it's in the contract, it all depends on the contract. I
And
don't know.
then the GC looks and goes, screw you.
No, obviously he can't do that.
Well, yeah, they could do anything they want.
Well, yeah.
Whether or not they ends up in court or not, that's a different situation. But
He's probably looking for some additional funds as a result of what happened. I don't know what the issue is. We can't.
well, then he would have to, or they, or she, or whoever. God, we want to be as non-binary as possible. They would have to show those overages. They would have to.
That's exactly
what this meeting is all about. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I would think that the project management thing was probably, they knew it was behind anyway. We heard back several months that it was delayed
Yeah.
a couple months as a result of COVID. Now that would be the project manager who's running the project, who's probably getting paid a fee per month, right? So, I mean, I'm sure he didn't have a fixed contract. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have spoke to Tina Falk from the
Yeah.
from the senior center many times
Yeah.
over this, and she did mention that because of COVID, she goes, well, maybe a 2x4 was this price, now it's like 50% higher because of COVID,
Yeah.
because they can't get it,
True.
and that kind of stuff.
And that was probably some of the delay because they couldn't get them.
Right.
Yeah.
She says she's very, very fond of the GC, and they worked well together. They have worked well together, and so I don't think there's any funny business here.
I don't think so either.
No.
No. So I mean, it's just a matter of what are these cost overruns? I mean, $300,000 to $900,000 is a lot of money.
But that's a big gap.
That's a big gap.
That's $600,000 there.
Yeah,
It's like,
you're right. So you kind of wonder what the heck's going on. I mean, I know there certainly isn't adding bells and whistles to this thing, but you heard them. They had a lot of they had some extra stuff they had to do. They went back and then they had to go back and fix something.
Yeah.
Those were very costly. And now here's the other thing. Though, for everyone they had to go back and do some change to, a change order. Maybe they got something in the contract that says for every change order, we're going to charge you extra on top of the contract.
Yeah.
Okay. And you heard them. There was a lot of change orders. So why were there a lot of change orders?
So I'm going to read a comment to you. We're going to break for news at the top of the hour, but I want to read this to you, Paul, and just see what you have to say. Joanne says, I know someone going through that now. There was a clause in the contract, but they didn't tell them till they were several $1,000s over. Because of COVID, they couldn't get materials.
True. We knew that was an issue. Yeah.
But we didn't know that when it went to bond.
Oh, no.
COVID wasn't this is a very, it's a unique situation, I think.
Yes, you're right.
So,
yeah. No, you're right.
God, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Again, I mean, why were there change orders? What happened? What was the reason for the change order?
COVID happened.
Well, no, change order means that they did something, then they had to go back and do it over again. They changed something other than the original plans were. Something changed. Did they add something? Or did something did not work out? What happened?
I don't know.
Okay, and you heard them. There was a lot of change orders. And like I said, if the contract says for the change orders that we're going to charge you for them, then there you go. There could be your $300,000 to $900,000 cost overrun.
All right, we are going to break for news, and we will be back after the top of the hour right here on SNSN. It's 8:55. Mike and Paul, Monday morning. Good morning.
Do you have a junk car or maybe one that got blown up and caught on fire? The guys from Scrap for Cash, they don't care. They're going to come to you. They're going to tow it away for free, and then they're going to pay you $275 for it. Scrap for Cash will turn that heat in your backyard into money so you can pay bills, taxes, groceries,
and night on the town.
Find Scrap for Cash on Facebook or call 860-373-2556. Scrap for Cash. cash.
Hello, I'm Miranda Mahoney, project coordinator of Grizzled Pride, your drug-free community coalition. We want to help you keep your kids safe during this challenging time. Social distancing is still in effect, and so is the social host law. Reports are coming in that teens are contracting the virus at underage drinking parties. Parents, allowing underage drinking on your property could land you in jail for up to a year, plus fines. Another reason why you should not provide alcohol to our youth. For more info, go to grizzledpride.org. grizzledpride.org. grizzledpride.org.
You buy better. Better with Burns. Much better. So much better with Burns. Pride insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns. You buy better with Burns. You buy better.
It's a new season, and the Burns Agency wants to remind you of a few precautions you can take to keep safe this season. It's a great time to make sure your chimney is serviced before the chestnuts start roasting. Before that Thanksgiving turkey drops in the deep fryer, be sure all smoke detectors are in working order. Let's clean out the gutters and properly dispose of our combustibles. Make space for our shovels, scrapers, and driveway salts. Last but not least, give the Burns Agency a chance to review your current coverage for any cost-saving opportunity or policy enhancements your current plan might be missing. Call, email, chat us online. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Right insurance at the right price. You buy better at Burns. You buy better at Burns. You buy better.
Hi, this is Alan Gear. You may know me as Mr. Jewett City. I want to tell you about my experience with our local eye doctor, Dr. Joel Zuckerbrun. I recently had cataract surgery, and I was told that I needed new glasses. I didn't know what to do because the problem was this was right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Where the heck was I going to get glasses? I checked places that make glasses. I looked online, and what I found was my solution was practically in my own backyard. So I called Dr. Z, as most people know him. His office is right on North Main Street, right here in the borough of Jewett City. I went to my appointment and had my glasses faster than I would have thought possible. Call Dr. Zuckerbrun at 376-2848. I trust Dr. Z with my eyesight, and you should too. Make an appointment today.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
We are the future. Griswold Parks and Rec is a parent's one-stop source for all things fun. Town events, sports, fitness, and enrichment for all ages. We love our residents. Let us prove it. Go to griswoldrec.org.
The flagship for Griswold High School sports, and your home for local news and weather.
Broadcasting from Main Street in the borough of Jewett City.
The Streaming News and Sports Network, SNSN.
The 9 a.m. report on the Streaming News and Sports Network is being brought to you by Charlene's Diner, 37 Main Street, Jewett City. Family owned for almost 40 years. Order what you want, eat what you get. That's Charlene's Diner.
I love working here because of the people, and I get to work with my family every day.
Come to Charlene's Diner for the best breakfast you've ever had.
That was Brittany and Matt from Charlene's Diner on Main Street in Jewett City. There are only a few things that have been able to stand the test of time in Jewett City, and one of them just happens to be Charlene's Diner, who just celebrated their 40th anniversary in business. How do you stay in business that long in a small town like Jewett City? It's a simple recipe, really great food and friendly service. And of course, family. You'll feel like family too, because you'll always be greeted with a smile that makes you feel like you're right at home. Stop by for breakfast or lunch 7 days a week. If you don't have any time, well, that's no problem. Order ahead and your food will be waiting for you when you walk into Charlene's door. You can find Charlene's Diner on Facebook too. Stop in and join the family for breakfast or lunch today.
I'm Charlene. Come to Charlene's Diner and order what you want and eat what you get.
Here's a look at your local news headlines on SNSN Internet Radio.
Governor Ned Lamont announced recently the launch of new services at the Connecticut Department of Motor Vehicles that will enable residents to renew their driver's licenses and non-driver ID cards online without having to visit an office in person. The announcement is part of the governor's broader initiative to modernize state government and add more convenience for residents by making services available online. The DMV's new online renewal option has already been offered to residents whose driver's licenses and non-driver IDs have expired within the last 45 days. As part of the soft launch of the new service during the last 2 months, more than 20,000 individuals have already successfully renewed online. Over the weekend on Friday at about 10:53 a.m., the Plainfield Police Department, along with Plainfield Fire and Canterbury Ambulance, responded to the area of 78 Plainfield Pike in Plainfield for a two-car motor vehicle collision. Upon the investigation, it was determined that a gray 2013 Lexus operated by 75-year-old Kenneth Avery of East Lyme was traveling eastbound on Plainfield Pike when Avery started to make a left turn into a business parking lot. During this time, a white 2012 Ford Fusion operated by 56-year-old George Ellingwood of Sterling was traveling behind Avery and attempted to pass Avery on the left, striking the Lexus. Ellingwood's passenger, 61-year-old Dorothy Ellington of Sterling, was transported to the Plainfield Bacchus emergency room for minor injuries. The crash remains under investigation by the Plainfield Police Department. While the snow has been falling in eastern Connecticut, Griswold residents have been asking whose responsibility is it as far as the snow, as well as what fines are being levied in case they don't move it. On the Borough of Jewett City side of things, residents have 48 hours to remove the snow from the sidewalks in front of their homes or businesses, if you happen to have a sidewalk, that is. If you don't move the snow, the borough will fine you $35 for not doing so. That's not where it stops, though. The snow still has to be removed, and it is not inexpensive. According to the Borough of Jewett City, they will then ask the town to remove the snow from your sidewalk in front of your house, which will incur additional fees over and above the $35 fine that the borough could levy on you. If the snow is light and fluffy, the cost is $75. If the snow is heavy and wet or possibly frozen, that would require additional equipment. Then the minimum fee is $125. This is over and above the $35 fine from the Borough of Jewett City. If all the fines and fees are not paid, the town has the option of putting a lien on your property. Checking sports, as far as local sports is concerned, Griswold High School starts their basketball season this Friday against Killingly High School at Killingly, a game you will hear and be able to watch right here on SNSN Internet Radio. The Super Bowl was yesterday. Tom Brady won his unprecedented 7th Super Bowl, this time as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9.
The 9 a.m. report on SNSN has been brought to you by Charlene's Diner, 37 Main Street, Jewett City. Family owned for almost 40 years. Order what you want. Eat what you get. That's Charlene's Diner.
All right, let's take a look at the forecast right now for eastern Connecticut. Here is Paul Lash.
Good morning, everybody. And right now, the temperature downtown Jewett City is 20 degrees. Be plenty of sunshine around today. Highs will be about 28 degrees. Little wind, possibly 5 to 10 miles per hour. But tonight, partly cloudy this evening, then becoming cloudy after midnight. Few flurries or snow showers possible. Lows around 11 degrees. For your Tuesday, well, it's going to be snow likely highs around 32. Winds will be light. Could be anywhere between 3 to 5 inches of snow is expected. And again, of course, for Tuesday night, partly cloudy skies, lows near 15 degrees. And that's your weather from SNSN on this Monday, 02/08/2021.
What's the date again, Paul?
February 8th.
20.
21.
21.
It's just music in the morning.
Rock you grew up. The streaming news and sports network.
All right, good morning. It's Mike and Paul. It's Monday, and it's a beautiful day out there. The sun is shining.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the snow will actually get melted today.
I hope so. Yeah. Sounds like the snow coming tomorrow is going to be during the day. But sometime in 3 to 5 during the day, that's possible, I guess, because it said cloudy skies at night. So
And they're saying Friday too.
Friday
Friday
Friday could be a real biggie. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that could be bigger than the one we had yesterday.
Seems like all the snow is coming at once. It's just high school sports. They're supposed to start Friday.
Guess what? Well,
every time these poor kids get a chance to play, there's been something. Let's see. They couldn't start last week for practices and tryouts. Why? Because it snowed, so they had to call it off. This Friday, it could be they could postpone it because of snow. They haven't played in a year. Well, because of COVID.
Right.
What the hell? What the hell? It's
actually,
always something.
Last time I heard, I thought the snow was coming in late Thursday night into Friday, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Well, it could be a substantial snowstorm, bigger than the one we had yesterday, which was about 8 to 10.
We got about 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little bit lighter than the last time. If you didn't clean it up last night, you're kind of screwed because it's pretty hard right now.
I did clean it up last night.
Yeah,
That's why my back is so sore today.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Well, because it started to get wet. 6 o'clock, it started to get something was coming down, and it was moisture, and it made it kind of real icy type thing. So
I think it rained for a little.
I think
bit,
it rained a little bit,
just
which
a little
caused
bit.
it to be frozen right now. Everything is a brick. Yeah, but hopefully, if it warms up a little today, it'll clean up a little bit. Sun will heat up the blacktop, and it'll melt a little bit. Yeah.
So the Super Bowl is
over.
Is in the books. It's over. It's
yeah.
I didn't watch. Like I said, I didn't watch 1 minute of it. I had no interest in this whatsoever.
We normally don't watch football either, but we kind of like to watch the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't see anything of a commercial perspective that I thought was that funny. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but there was one that was kind of close to, it was Reunited States. It was a commercial that was very calming and, came halfway through, I guess. It was called Reunited States, getting everybody to,
Gotcha.
come together. Yeah.
So what's your impression of Tom Brady?
Wow. I mean,
the greatest of all time.
Yeah. I mean, you got to admit. And look what he brought what's his name? Gronkowski with him or something?
Gronkowski. Yeah, Gronkowski. Whatever.
No, his name was Gronk.
Come on, he's some Polak. I don't know.
Did he bring another guy with him too? Weren't there 2 of them that came out besides himself?
There may have been, but I think
I thought there was another one that came from the Patriots as
but
well.
Gronkowski comes out of retirement and
and the 2 of them play well. I mean, let's face it, the first 2 touchdowns were between Brady and him.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, their team plane when they got to the runway when they landed, that was the only touchdown they had.
Well, they actually did. So they didn't have.
Sorry.
I mean, that was unfortunate. It just seemed to me that poor young guy, the young quarterback, man, he was getting banged up pretty damn bad. I mean,
they knew he was coming to town.
He was running around the field like, "Come catch me if you can." It was like I thought it was going to be a lot closer than that because last year they played the Patriots, right? The Patriots got their ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
So
all I got to say now is let's go baseball. Let's go baseball.
Yeah.
Let's go high school basketball.
Yeah.
Grizzled, Killingly, Plainfield.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I gotta find out for sure, but I heard NFA is not playing basketball.
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh.
But I gotta find out. I've heard, through
There's
the grapevine that
there's probably a lot of schools that aren't playing. There's a lot of colleges that aren't playing either.
No.
They just decided not to play at all.
So our discussion that we just had with Scott Davis, the Board of Finance chairman, was telling us that there's going to be a special meeting tomorrow night of the Board of Finance to deal with and discuss the cost overruns from the new construction of the Griswold Senior Center.
Right.
Scott told us that the cost overruns could be anywhere from $300,000 to $900,000, and it'll hopefully he was hoping that it will go to a referendum.
Well, and the other positive thing that came out of that too was that the new budget, unless the governor does something, would go to referendum, which is a good thing because a lot of people bitched about that last year.
Well, when the budget stuff comes out from the governor, for the state, Scott was saying that they'll have more of an idea of where it sits for the town because they'll know what they're going to get for funding, what they're going to get for ECS funding.
I thought that the governor, in one of his speeches, said he was not going to cut any of the funds going through any of the towns. That's what I thought I heard him say way back when. So, because don't forget, the state also has a substantial amount of money in its rainy day fund.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got big bucks. Yeah. Yeah. Also,
Well-
did you see now that you can do your license online now?
Yeah. Matter of fact, if you listen to our news broadcast, it's
there, huh?
It's right there.
Yeah.
What do you think we are? What do you think? We're thinking we're a bunch of
No,
schmucks here?
no,
What? Come on.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Lamont did a whole webcast with people from the head of DMV talking about it, bringing the state into the,
Yeah.
It's
good. I mean, I'm glad to hear that because that's one of the biggest pains in the necks is going to the motor vehicle. Because I never went there. I always went down to AAA to get an iron done, because that was the easiest thing to do, Yeah.
I'm gonna tie this in a very strange way, but you have all of these retail organizations that are having a very hard time, as far as staying alive and awake and open.
Yeah.
Because people aren't going out. Yeah. Or they're not going, whether it's COVID fear or there are just so many things that they can just do from their personal computers now or their phones that they don't need to. I think this is another one of those things that'll keep people, I'm not saying it's not a great convenience because, you can go either way with this conversation. But I think the more and more that you find that's available online that you can do right from your toilet.
Yes, you could.
You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's true. I've paid bills sitting on the throne.
Like the king.
Don't tell me you haven't either, folks. It happens,
Just like the king.
They'll say, "What are you talking about? That's gross." And everything. No, it happens. It's a reality.
Well, it's the only downtime you got. So why waste time?
That's it. But I think it's another way that people don't have to go anywhere.
Multitasking.
So, like for example, a lot of times when people go to let's say you got to go to the DMV or you got to go to the Social Security office or whatever.
Yeah.
What happens after that? Hey, maybe I'll stop and get lunch somewhere. Or you know what? Oh, I want to shop at the store real quick because I'm here.
Yeah.
That's done because people will be doing it from home.
Yeah. I find that I don't eat out as much as I used to. You see, you eat out a lot. Now I find I don't eat out a lot. I really don't.
You stopped because of COVID.
Well, I'll stop because a lot of the restaurants, just don't do it anymore.
Right, but I remember, Paul, before COVID, you were going out. You go out every so often.
Yeah,
a couple nights a week.
Yeah,
you and your wife would go out. And you talk about you went to dinner here, you went to dinner there.
Yeah, because I didn't like cooking.
But there are places open, like for example, Dean's is open, Charlene's is open. Okay, fine. They're breakfast diners. They're delicious for what they are.
Yeah.
But there are in town. There are great options.
Sure there is.
As far as going out to eat.
Yeah.
We went out to Cranky's the other night, just Melissa and I.
Yeah.
And they had it was prime rib night, but we chose to have burgers.
The burgers are good.
The burgers are freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
Let's see, Tooley's they're open for business.
Yeah.
we've both eaten there.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, they're good. Sorrel's is open. The Pizza Palace is
Yeah,
open.
yeah.
So there are places that you can go.
Yeah.
And you know, so why aren't you going there?
I don't know. Just lately, he's just been doing some cooking at home. That's all. You know, so just a matter of choice, I guess. Not that I'm not afraid to go. It's just that, you know, it's just decides to cook at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who does all the cooking?
I do a lot. Yeah.
I cooked dinner last night in our brand new Instapot.
Oh,
Made jambalaya.
we had scallops.
Do you have an Instapot? One of those pressure cookers?
No. No,
You
we
can't
got-
open it.
No, we got enough stuff.
You can't open it until it tells you you can open this now.
Oh. No, we have the fryer, you know, the air fryer. We cook everything in that thing.
Why we have one of we have an air fryer
Oh,
and a,
man. Last night we cooked scallops in it.
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do everything in that.
Yeah,
thing.
can. I mean, they're now followed by cookies. So there you go.
I like cookies.
I don't think we've had the oven on.
I had lots of cookies last night.
Yeah, I don't think we've had the oven on for months. Stores pots and pans.
So Joanne just said Uncle Cranky's has the best pastrami.
I never tried their pastrami.
They're very good, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they are good.
They're a diamond in the rough. You wouldn't know it unless you actually go there.
They actually get a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They put a lot on their menu.
yeah, a lot of food. So it's really good. Of course, we haven't been there in a while, but
We had burgers and they have those hand cut fries.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Put a
I've
little
had their prime rib there too. That's actually pretty
lightly salted.
Yeah.
Put some vinegar on them.
Yeah.
Have a little ketchup there for dipping.
good.
Take one, put it in the
Are you getting
in the
hungry?
kit. Yes. And then you just
No, I agree with you. That their food is good.
and then after you eat that fry, you know what you do? You eat another one.
Yeah, I like the spaghetti and meatballs too.
Yeah, the food is just good over there. And
Yeah.
you know what? Unless you go there and you know, and here's what we always do. We always park behind back,
In the back, absolutely.
you know, and go through the side door. You know why? I don't want to walk through the bar.
No,
Now it's not that it's a bad place.
No.
I just don't want to walk through the bar.
yeah.
You know?
and you can sit in the back away from the bar without a problem. There's plenty of seats.
Exactly. And
Plenty of
it's
seats.
remote.
Yes, it
It's
is.
kind of remote,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah. Oh.
and you know, I saw people that I knew there too.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
They were very busy. It was nice to see.
That's good.
So here's the caveat to that. The whole reason why we went to Cranky's. I mean, obviously because we do enjoy the food there.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah.
We were at earlier that day. There was a food distribution.
Oh
which
yeah,
you and I walked down to.
That's right. That's right.
With Rich Wasilek.
Yeah.
We walked down there to check it out. And they were giving away the food boxes and
Yep.
and then all of a sudden my phone rings and it's Frank Rubino. And Frank he had from his bread delivery came in. And he got many more loaves than he actually ordered. Then the bread company said, yeah, it's our fault. But we can't take them back because of COVID-19.
Mhm.
So Frank, I told him, I said, hey, bring him down to the food drive.
Sure.
And he did. He drove his truck right up, had all these nice loaves of Vienna white.
They were nice. They were big loaves.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Frank handed them out.
Yeah.
Well, we handed them out, you know, well, I should say we, I should say the senior center and
They
the volunteers down
correct.
there.
Yeah.
Tina and Lisa and Joanne and Robbie and Scott. Todd Babbitt was there.
Yeah.
And just, you know, putting boxes of food.
Yeah.
That had quite a bit of stuff in them. It was like
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff.
it was like getting a Hello Fresh box, you know, coming right
Yeah.
to your house.
Right.
Had onions, potatoes, yogurt, cheese, hot dogs, a whole chicken, a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
What else? Had something else in it too.
I don't
Scrapple.
know.
So,
Hmm.
I don't know when they're going to have the next food drive, but I'm sure they're going to do it again.
I'm sure.
But I think that's all FEMA.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a second. And yeah. It's Monday. It's SNSN. Good morning.
Don't just wish for a winning deal. Make it Dish. It will make it real. Don't just wish. Make it Dish.
Hey everyone, this is Ellis Dish from Dish Motors. We're back better than ever with our new sales and service center on Route 32 in North Franklin. Everyone says there's nothing better than dealing with the dishes, and here's why. Selection. We have the area's largest inventory of off-lease, one-owner vehicles of all makes and models. You name it, we got it, or I'll get it for you at no additional charge. Quality. Each vehicle goes through a rigorous 120-point safety and quality check. Nothing leaves the lot without my personal approval. Convenience. We have financing sources for almost any situation. We offer on-site registration processing, and we have maintenance programs for years of stress-free ownership. And now open for all your maintenance needs. Our full-service repair facility, where oil changes start at just $19.99. Call today for your appointment or just stop by. So save thousands and deal with the dishes. Route 32, North Franklin. Or check us out online at dishfranklin.com. Or ring us, 860-383-4750.
Don't just wish. Make it Dish.
Griswold Adult Education can help you get started on moving ahead toward the future you deserve. Our free services can help you meet your educational and employment goals. We can help you build your skill to earn a GED or high school diploma, prepare for college or training, increase employability skills, and much more. Contact us today to find out more. Call 860-870-6060 or register at www.vrabe.org.
As a business, your customers are your first priority. At Jewett City Savings Bank, their first priority is helping businesses like yours to succeed. Here's what Bruce Prescott of Zoe and Company in Westerly, Rhode Island had to say about doing business with Jewett City Savings Bank.
Jewett City Savings Bank's the best bank we've ever dealt with. We've refied multifamily homes through them, single family homes. We've refied our business. We bought a new shop out in Cape Cod. They did all the financing for that. They've been straightforward. Anytime we've needed anything, they have made it extraordinarily easy for us to deal with. I recommend all the time to my other friends of mine that own businesses to deal with Jewett City Savings Bank. I've recommended them year after year.
To learn more about how the commercial lending team at Jewett City Savings Bank can assist you, call 860-376-4444 or go to jcsbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Internet radio.
I like when they play nothing but music.
The local station.
Absolutely love the station.
The streaming news and sports network.
Good morning. Welcome back to the show, Mike and Paul. Monday morning. We've got a lot of guests coming up this week. We'll post on who. I know, like, for example, Brian Lanew's coming on Wednesday. He's going to call in because he's got a couple of bills that are going to be hitting the House floor.
Oh, that's right.
So-
I did hear that.
Yep. So we'll be looking forward to talking to Brian Lanew. Next week, we have the paranormal folks coming up again.
Oh.
Daniel and Christine Peer from the Connecticut Paranormal Research Team.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And Paul's got something we all need right now. That's the weather.
That's right. The temperature right now downtown Jewett City is up to 21 degrees. Mostly sunny today. Highs will be around 28 degrees. But tonight, well, probably cloudy skies. It'll become more overcast overnight. Could be a few flurries around. Lows will be around 11 degrees. It'll be a cool night tonight because we got snow on the ground, I guess. Night for Tuesday. Well, Tuesday's going to be, well, guess what?
What?
Snow. Although it's going to be,
Yeah.
snow. Going to be between 3 to 5 inches expected. I'm not sure when it's supposed to start, but it's going to be snow tomorrow. Temperature should be around 32 degrees, so you kind of wonder what's going to happen there. For the evening, probably cloudy skies, lows around 15 degrees. Again, it's going to be a cold night. And that's your weather from SNSN on this Monday, 02/08/2021.
So during the break, I was just taking a look at. Well, it's no secret that I have invested in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And so has my daughter.
Really?
Yeah, Chelsea got into it.
Oh,
I
wow.
told her, I said, you gotta take a look at it. So her and her husband did, and I don't know how much money they put in or anything. Believe me, I don't ask her anything like that. She'll be like, "That's none of your business." So, but I'll tell you, I have money in about 4 or 5 different cryptocurrencies.
Yep.
Bitcoin has gone nutso today.
Wow.
Nutso. I mean, if you're looking at the graph, it's like this, shoo, straight up. So they're at an all-time high. So it's like people are like, well, what the hell are you buying Bitcoin for? What is that even based on? Who knows? I don't really care. All I know is it's been zipping up. I bought at 22. It's at 44,000.
Doubled your money. Doubled your money.
So yeah. Another one, and this is weird. There's a cryptocurrency called Dogecoin.
Yep.
Dogecoin. A week and a half ago. Let's see, hold on. Let's even do this. A month ago, it was less than a penny per coin.
Yeah.
Okay. It is now at 8 cents. If you put $100 in, you got $800.
Wow.
All right. But here's the funny thing about Dogecoin. All right, you ready for this? I'm going to read this. This is what Dogecoin is. Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency that was created as a joke. Its name is a reference to a popular internet meme. That's it. It was a joke.
Wow.
But what's happening, and it all started with Elon Musk and people on TikTok. And all of a sudden, everybody's buying Dogecoin.
Wow.
It's up 747% in a month.
Just goes to show.
Who the hell could forecast that?
Wow. Crazy.
And even today, it's up 30%.
Wow.
So, and I know my daughter bought Dogecoin, so I'm happy for her.
Wow.
But unbelievable. But I do think you're going to see more and more cryptocurrency in this world. The digital stuff.
Yeah. Like I tell you, I'd be interested, but I'm not giving them my passwords into my bank.
Okay. Then don't.
No, that's why I haven't done it. I don't
Okay.
think they should have a password into my bank accounts.
Okay.
I mean, I'll give them a checking account or anything they want to take the money out of.
I didn't give them my password into my bank. I don't know what you're talking about.
And they asked me for a password into my bank, and I said, "There's no freaking way am I doing that."
No, I didn't give them a password to my bank.
Oh, I'll check it out
It
again.
just asked me the account number, the routing number, so you
Oh,
can,
I could do
you can
that.
take funds out and
I would
stuff.
do
But
that,
it didn't
but-
ask me a password. It asked me a password to sign into my account on the app I use,
Yeah.
but
No, I'll check it out.
it doesn't
again.
ask. No,
I'll check it out again, but I
Look at it
wasn't
again.
about to give them any kind of bank account numbers.
I'm really surprised that this OneCoin Dogecoin hasn't collapsed yet. Because I told my daughter, I said, look, I said, get in, get out.
Yeah.
But the get in is still good. That's crazy.
Well, Bitcoin doesn't sound like now is a good time to get in. Not for being-
Well, they were a week ago when they were
Not
down
now,
to
not now.
32.
Yeah, not now. It's too
Now
high.
they just dropped down below 44.
Yeah, it's got to come down a lot.
Well, there's always that
Yeah.
price correction. The same thing happened on the stock market last week with GameStop.
Oh, yeah, GameStop. Yeah.
GameStop, not
GameStop. I know GameStop.
and what was the other one?
Only what I heard was GameStop.
There's 2 of them. Oh, AMC Theaters. Because because it was all social media driven.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want these companies to go away. So their stock went up like 200% in one day.
It's back down again, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it came way down.
Well, yeah, there's a market correction, it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, it
So
came down.
I was talking to Melissa's son who was saying that, we should really buy GameStop. Of course he's a gamer and, that's exactly what he would like to see.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, dude, I said, you just wait for the next day.
Yeah.
He said, what do you mean?
It's going down. And it did.
Huh?
Yeah. When I saw it, it was down like $30.
I told him, no, it was worse than that.
Yeah, when I saw it was down $30. Yeah.
So I told him, I said, no, you don't want to buy that. I said, because it's going to crash in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And it didn't even take a couple of days. It just went.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was pretty decent.
Yeah.
That was pretty decent. But oh my God. I just looked at it this morning. Did you see my eyes went, woo? So I am not telling anybody or even suggesting to anybody buy Bitcoin. I'm not suggesting. I am not a financial analyst whatsoever, and I'm certainly not saying, go ahead and put your money into that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you what happened with me.
Yeah, you bought it at the right time.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
I got lucky. All right. Time for the little bit of a news break right here. It's SNSN Internet Radio.
Here's a look at your local news headlines on SNSN Internet Radio. Governor Ned Lamont announced recently the launch of new services at the Connecticut Department of Motor Vehicles that will enable residents to renew their driver's licenses and non-driver ID cards online without having to visit an office in person. The announcement is part of the governor's broader initiative to modernize state government and add more convenience for residents by making services available online. The DMV's new online renewal option has already been offered to residents whose driver's licenses and non-driver IDs have expired within the last 45 days. As part of the soft launch of the new service during the last 2 months, more than 20,000 individuals have already successfully renewed online. Over the weekend on Friday at about 10:53 a.m., the Plainfield Police Department, along with Plainfield Fire and Canterbury Ambulance, responded to the area of 78 Plainfield Pike in Plainfield for a two-car motor vehicle collision. Upon the investigation, it was determined that a gray 2013 Lexus operated by 75-year-old Kenneth Avery of East Lyme was traveling eastbound on Plainfield Pike when Avery started to make a left turn into a business parking lot. During this time, a white 2012 Ford Fusion operated by 56-year-old George Ellingwood of Sterling was traveling behind Avery and attempted to pass Avery on the left, striking the Lexus. Ellingwood's passenger, 61-year-old Dorothy Ellington of Sterling, was transported to the Plainfield Bacchus emergency room for minor injuries. The crash remains under investigation by the Plainfield Police Department. While the snow has been falling in eastern Connecticut, Griswold residents have been asking whose responsibility is it as far as the snow, as well as what fines are being levied in case they don't move it. On the Borough of Jewett City side of things, residents have 48 hours to remove the snow from the sidewalks in front of their homes or businesses, if you happen to have a sidewalk, that is. If you don't move the snow, the borough will fine you $35 for not doing so. That's not where it stops, though. The snow still has to be removed, and it is not inexpensive. According to the Borough of Jewett City, they will then ask the town to remove the snow from your sidewalk in front of your house, which will incur additional fees over and above the $35 fine that the borough could levy on you. If the snow is light and fluffy, the cost is $75. If the snow is heavy and wet or possibly frozen, that would require additional equipment. Then the minimum fee is $125. This is over and above the $35 fine from the Borough of Jewett City. If all the fines and fees are not paid, the town has the option of putting a lien on your property. Checking sports, as far as local sports is concerned, Griswold High School starts their basketball season this Friday against Killingly High School
at Killingly, a game you will hear and be able to watch right here on SNSN Internet Radio. The Super Bowl was yesterday. Tom Brady won his unprecedented 7th Super Bowl, this time as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. All right, that's your news updates right here on SNSN Internet Radio. It's 9:36 here in the borough of Jewett City. Yeah, you all set there, Paul?
Yeah.
All right. So we were talking about cryptocurrency a little bit. Digital money, basically.
Yep.
You can swap it through digital wallets. Matter of fact, a lot of times if you buy stuff online now, they want some sort of cryptocurrency.
Some places want Bitcoin. Yep.
Well, I just looked and my eyes went nuts, and I'm like, oh my God, because it spiked up to about $44,000 a coin on Bitcoin. And it's all, I think, riding on the news of Tesla is now starting to accept Bitcoin.
There you go.
So,
well,
as far as the American, do you have any stocks that you think are good buys or anything like that?
I don't buy them myself personally. I have a financial guy do it.
All right. So what do you own?
What do I want?
What do you own?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I mean, I
Okay.
probably got a list of them, but I don't check them. I let the financial guys do that.
Amazon, Tesla are big right now.
Yeah, they're big.
Walmart is supposedly a really good buy right now.
Is it? Yeah.
I was listening to what's his name, Kramer, Mad Money, on CNBC or something like that.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Bullheaded guy. Right?
Yeah, he's nuts. He's fun to watch though.
Yeah.
But he said Walmart right now, as far as the stock is undervalued.
Oh.
And all of a sudden you hear buy. So again, we are not financial advisors. These are just things
far
that
from it.
You're independently wealthy, Paul. I don't know what you're complaining about.
I'm not independently wealthy.
Yeah, just you know what? If you see Paul on the street, ask him how many cars he has.
Number of cars you have doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, it's the type of car you have.
Well,
What are you, Jay Leno now?
no, far from it.
Huh?
Those cars were all bought when I was working. That's when they were bought. When I retired, I can't buy crap.
So I don't even go out to dinner anymore.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to post a little bit later on what kind of what guests we'll be having on this week. And why is my computer locked up?
I don't know.
All of a sudden, look at that. Oh, okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think it's working now. There we
you
go. So we'll have a whole bunch of those things coming up. Different guests, including Brian Lanou from the 45th District. So,
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So when will Brian be on?
bunch of stuff. Wednesday
Wednesday.
at 8:30.
Gotcha.
But there'll be more and more and more every single day as we try to bring you as much local news and as much local information as we can. So, Paul, see you Wednesday.
You got it.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. Phil Michelle coming up a little bit later on. We're live from the Griswold Youth Center. And, of course, Angela from 2 to 6 right here. So we appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. And we hope to see you again tomorrow right here on SNSN Internet Radio.
REO Speedwagon. Pat Benatar. Metallica. Streaming live.
SN.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
We are the future. Griswold Parks and Rec is a parent's one-stop source for all things fun. Town events, sports, fitness, and enrichment for all ages. We love our residents. Let us prove it. Go to griswoldrec.org.
The legends live here.